Oh, that was your Erline iPod.
Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they spent. Take another look now and take some time for hemp. I know cut trees for paper, cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for hemp. Oh, an acre of hemp makes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rent. Right now, it's time for hemp.
Thank you for taking Time for Hemp. I'm your host, Casper Leitch. You are listening to Time for Hemp all around the world on Tumblr, SoundCloud, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google+. I tell you, if there's a way to make noise on the social outlet, we're making noise there. That way you can download us on all your smart devices. Download our MP3s as well. You can even mail those off and share them with your friends. It is Wednesday, and on Wednesday, we put a spotlight on what's going on in Washington, D.C., sometimes with the LEAP organization. And we like to have an update whenever we can with what's going on in the halls of Congress and the halls of the Senate. Which reminds me, there are some members of the Senate and there are some members of the Congress who still believe that there is no true medical value to cannabis. And I encourage those of you who are listening to find out who those members are and send them a snail mail with a medical cannabis suppository included so that they can learn the truth. With that said, I'm going to open up this program with passing this joint chat to my joint host here on the Big Joint program, Judge Lenny Frieling, and we're going to be talking to one of our joint family members, Howard Wooldridge, and we're going to be learning, I think Howard's going to be telling us that within the next 6 months or so, Judge Lenny Frieling and Howard and I and all those listening will be coming together in the center of Washington, D.C., holding hands with the DEA and singing Kumbaya. Is that right?
Yeah, there's something close to that, sure.
As long as we're sitting in a circle, then I think it's official.
Groovy. I'll get my love beads out.
There you go.
Your Honor, I pass this joint chat to you.
Casper, thank you. We have today one of the founding members of LEAP, LEAP.cc, Howard Wooldridge. And we are honored to have Howard with us. Howard has the street creds. He doesn't just talk the talk. He walks it. He walks it. He fills his cowboy hat. This is a big man in a small hat, not a small man in a big hat. Howard, good to have you here.
Well, thanks, Lenny. Thank you for the kind words. I do what I can.
It's much appreciated. People don't even know how much they appreciate what you have been doing for them. Let's start back a couple of years here. You were formerly law enforcement.
18 years.
And what did you do? What were you tasked with over the 18 years?
Well, I was a patrol officer, FTO, field training officer. I trained all the rookies in my department. And then the last few years I spent as a detective going after some serious bad guys.
Now, patrol. Tell me what patrol officer does. I mean, we all think we know a lot of things. And I know for me, I think I know way more than I know.
Well, patrol is, a citizen calls up and wants everything from, their dog their cat's in the tree to, somebody stole a bicycle, so the neighbors are making noise, to, they're reporting a drunk driver in progress right in front of them. Now the cell phones, that's a really good way we arrest more guys as drunk driving because citizens call it in. So it's just when the phone rings, especially in my department, we would respond to almost anything.
Howard, let's completely flip this on its head. We started at the beginning, 18 years law enforcement, and now we find ourselves some years later, and is there news? What's going on in Congress? What's up?
Well, it's all cheerful news, guys. The cheerful news continues to roll through the halls of Congress, the corridors of power that I work in, every day. We came. If you sit down for this, in May we came within 12 votes of passing in the House a bill to end the federal prohibition of marijuana we've had since 1937. That is how close we are today. In 2015, we were 12 votes short. So the six guys who pulled the wagon around here real hard, we believe strongly that we can find 12 votes in the next 12 months.
That's 12 votes out of how many sitting in
435.
Say again?
Out of 435.
435 representatives in the United States House, and
right.
Of that, 12 votes more.
Well, yeah, we had 206 vote our way. Gentlemen, that's unprecedented. This is not just for medical. This is all green plant. It's do away with the 37 law. This is huge. As Mr. Trump would say, this is huge.
Now, when you say do away with the 1937 law, let's remind people that we're referring to the famous Anslinger, William Randolph Hearst Anti-Narcotics Act, correct?
Right. Yeah, the Stamp Act, Marijuana Stamp Act of 1937. It's been updated now. It's called a new name, but your listeners are sure focus in on the idea. In 1937, they made it illegal in all 48 states, the federal prohibition. Well, the federal prohibition almost got overturned this year in the House. Now, I should say the Senate's going to take a couple, 2-3 more years. But if a new president will sign the bill, this is over with in the next term of the president.
I'll tell you what crosses my mind when you say that. If the House is within 12 votes, senators in general want two things: re-election and the opportunity to get reelected. That's what they want. That's what they work for.
Exactly.
I think that when they see 12 votes difference, I think that's what governs their beliefs. Their beliefs don't govern their beliefs.
Correct. Most of the guys in Congress, when I say most, I'm going to say a professional guess, is about 80% know that we need to end the federal prohibition. But politics, ego, and into these things. But even in the Senate, just to your point, in the Senate this spring, during the votes that we took, the Appropriations Committee voted 16-14 to approve some forms of medical marijuana across the states. And one of the other committees voted 21-9 in favor of states' rights for medical marijuana. These are the first ever votes in the Senate on a separate bill. These are historic, and these tell you today that the Senate is only a couple of yards away from where the House is. I'm going to see this done before I leave for Texas. Absolutely.
Howard, just for background here, to put this in perspective, what role are you currently playing in Washington? What brings you to D.C. at the moment? Which hat?
Well, I've been here since 2005. After I rode the horse across America, Misty across America, I went to the halls of Congress and I said, I'm going to change the world. And after 10 years, I'm almost an overnight success. But I've been up and down the halls of Congress now. I've made about 3,600 presentations to staffers, congressmen, senators about the need to apply the 10th Amendment states' rights to marijuana policy. And I am, like I say, just a stone's throw from being successful. I say me, it's us. There's a 6-person team that pulls the wagon here, does most of the work, and we are excited.
I like to see it as we've won the war. Now we need to win the peace. To fill our I'm sorry, I cut you off there.
Go ahead.
To fill our listeners in, you and I talk about the 10th Amendment, and me because I'm a lawyer that remembers a little bit from law school 40 years ago, and you because you're working on it so actively. Can you give us the overview? Why does the 10th matter? Why does the 14th matter? How does the Bill of Rights even figure into this?
Well, it's go back to 80 years. There were about 26 states, 26 states, that prior to 1937 had made marijuana illegal in their state. It was a states' rights issue. The guiding principle was the 10th Amendment, states' rights. And in many states, after alcohol prohibition, passed laws banning marijuana, so you could not switch from one intoxicant to another. And then the Fed said, well, you need to get it all the way, Anslinger and Hearst, et cetera. And so in 37, it was a blanket nationwide policy. And that's what I'm trying to... The reason it's that way, gentlemen, and for your audience, it's much, much easier for a Republican to vote states' rights than any type of legalization bill. That would be another 15, 20 years away. But states' rights, the Republicans always give lip service to let Texas run Texas, right? So they are boxed into a corner. They say, well, I believe in let Texas run Texas, except your issue. And they know they look the fool, and that's why more and more of them are voting our way.
To me, there could not, let me not overstate, it is hard to imagine anything that is more of a, what I would refer to as a true Republican issue. States' rights, fiscal, monetary responsibility, individual responsibility. Everything Republicans theoretically stand for, or have in the past stood for, says people should make up their own minds when it doesn't affect other people. States have rights, smaller government. And I'm just repeating back to you what you're saying. And to jump to the date perspective here, you mentioned that 26 states before the Marijuana Stamp Act of 37 had already made pot illegal. And am I right that began happening in 1906, 7?
My information is 1914, Utah became the first state to make marijuana illegal. And then 6 western states followed suit, like Texas, prior to alcohol prohibition. Quebec, labor.
So it took 1914 to 1937 to get the feds on board.
Yeah. If Anslinger wanted something to do, and he convinced the Congress that Negro musicians were giving marijuana to white women, and the result was pregnancy. That's how he's able to get Southern Democrats to vote to allow federal agents to go into Georgia, Mississippi, et cetera, to arrest anybody. Because they were assured it was only Negro musicians, not white people, would use marijuana.
And it worked. The devil's lettuce.
Yeah.
Black musicians, the blues guys, would smoke marijuana and rape white women. And as I understand it, in fact, there were some black musicians who smoked pot. That part of it had truth to it.
Correct.
I mean, the rest, we look at it and our jaws drop. And on the one hand, we think, did people really believe that? On the other hand, and let's switch to another area of cannabis that I know you have in which you have great interest. Anslinger was so effective with Hearst that they banned growing what you need to grow to make rope, to make sails on ships. And as we know now, thousands of other things, but of particular importance at that time, both in terms of, say, the impact on World War II, and we can chat about that later. But the point is, the emotional appeal was so intense that people banned making rope. That's pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, they a lot of it they began importing it from the Pacific Rim after 1937.
And we're familiar with the phrase Manila hemp. And in fact, that's because it was coming from Manila.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, gentlemen, that I know we all can appreciate as we see politics unfold every year. Washington is basically a sewer. And I've had people over the last 10 years say, Howard, God bless you for what you're doing. I don't know how you find the courage to go to the halls of Congress every day. And after a couple of years, I've decided you're welcome. Just it is not easy. It is not easy. Just imagine you go down to your local water waste treatment facility and you see all that gurgling brown, crap, and then you jump into it head first every day. That's about what I do. I don't expect him. That's what I do. I love to do it. I enjoy the job, but that's what it is. You are jumping into a sewer of shit in Washington, and it's the power, the money, the ego are off the charts, and that's why reform's been at this now at the fed level seriously for about 12, 14 years, and we're still not there yet, even with just marijuana.
Normally, I would think, oh, that's hyperbole. Nice analogy, but it's hyperbole. Except in this case, I think you're understating.
Okay.
I know. I had a friend that worked in the Boulder sewage treatment plant, and I've toured it, and I have to tell you, I wish Congress worked that well.
Indeed. Okay.
There's an expression that says if you don't want to see sausage being made, you don't want to see laws being made. Having
Correct.
very limited experience working on specific pot-related issues in the State House here, I think if sausages were made as badly as laws, we'd all be dead.
Pretty much.
From eating.
Yeah. Well, let me say, look, there's lots of good information out there. There's lots of good things happening, not just with the marijuana issue, which is going gangbusters. You got guys like Don Murphy, MPP. You got Michael Correa with the Marijuana Industry Council. Folks from Sarah from Third Way. Lots of really good people pulling the wagon, guys. And that's why we're going to be an overnight success here, probably next year or the year after. And but we got a good sentencing bill coming down the pike here in September. Great bipartisan support. We got civil asset forfeiture, which is now front and center. There's already been a hearing on it. Conservative Republicans know the cops are policing for profit, and they want this horrific stain to stop. So good things are happening. I think in the last 18 months of Obama, we're going to see several good criminal justice bills passed and signed, and it's going to make the world a much better place.
I keep trying to go negative, and each time I do, I just grin because you come back with positive and not just good attitude. Added to that, good facts. We're getting somewhere. And it's not just pot progress, which is a wonderful thing. Happens to be my recreational and medication of choice, drug of pleasure. But if I had a 25-year-old, particularly bright kid, would I want that kid to take LSD? You bet your bippy I do. Twice, 3 times, personal decision. Even the first time, personal decision. But it is such, in my mind and in my life, such a significant, important thing to experience that the opportunity to do so legally, the opportunity to do so where you at least know what you really are taking. I have clients coming in all the time saying, oh, I bought MDMA, I bought ecstasy. And I have to explain to them, no, you didn't. You bought an unknown white powder, which may or may not have any resemblance to what you think you have.
Right.
We have stuff out there, the synthetic marijuanas that have nothing to do with marijuana. So part of this mission, part of this lobbying effort you're involved in, I have to imagine that a big chunk of it is straight educational. That sound good? Am I on the right track?
Well, yes and no. It's the kids, these smart, these very, very intelligent, bright, educated 25, 27-year-olds I deal with every day. Literally the smartest kids in the country, basically. They know what I know. They know that the prohibition is a terrible policy. You know, when I say it's the most destructive, dysfunctional, and immoral policy since slavery and Jim Crow, they just nod and go, yeah, we know that. And the good news, guys, is that I start out every presentation with, after I introduce myself, with, we now know after $1 trillion and 44 years of drug war, we have two choices on drugs in this country, who controls it. Either the criminals and the cartels control it, or the government. There's no unicorn out there that you're going to find that I've been looking for all my life. There's no unicorn. It's going to be either the government or the cartels. And what's the obvious choice here? Even dyed-in-the-wool Republicans and libertarians would rather have the government control drugs as opposed to the cartels. So at the base level, with the 10,000 legislative assistants I deal with, it's into the 90-plus percentile. Agree with me. Agree with us that this is horrible. But it's the boss that needs to get reelected. He's got a mindset from the last century, and that's where the rubber gets sticky.
Well, one thing that is sticky is making the budget here, and also the green that I smoke. So why don't I smoke some green while we pay the bills with a commercial break, listen to a song about how fantastic marijuana is, and then pick up where we left off here at Time for Hemp. Listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. The only broadcasting network dedicated to ending the global war on drugs on iHeartRadio.
Medical clinics are the premier physicians clinic in the United States. THCF has offices all across the United States from Hawaii to Michigan. THCF Medical Clinics has helped approximately 150,000 patients obtain their medical marijuana permits to legally possess, grow, and use medical marijuana. If you have chronic pain, multiple sclerosis, or any other neurological degenerative disease, or if you have any gastrointestinal disorders such as GERD, irritable bowel syndrome, or if you have AIDS, cancer, spastic disorders, seizure disorders, or glaucoma, call us at 1-800-723-0188 or visit us online at hemp.org. Again, the number is 1-800-723-0188 and the site is hemp.org.
I'm smoking on that ganja green. Do you wanna get high with me? I got nothing but that high grade weed, mad cheese and a couple of C's. Listen, ma, can I smoke with you? It's your choice, I got purple too. Let's get going like we're supposed to do. Puff, 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 this is how we do.
My nigga roll that crip, like that shit. Breathe smoke nothing but the best that spit. I got purple lips from this blunt I hit. Off a secondhand smoke, I could get you lit. Blow perk by the pound, goose by the gallon. Blunt wrap filled with haze from the Allen. I got high time weed, no stem, no seed. That shit when you smoke make a nigga eyes bleed. If you puff like me, you you run through OZs. If you copping me a blunt, make sure it's Dutchy. Cognac preferred, blowing on the herb. Calm a nigga nerves from blasting on your herbs. I smoke well, I smoke good in the hood. Bring a couple pounds back to the woods. You know, breathe, man, I'm in and I'm out. Rep the 16 nigga with a blunt in my mouth. Holla.
I'm smoking on that ganja green. Do you wanna get high with me? I got nothing but that high grade weed. Mad cheese and a couple OZs. Listen, ma, can I smoke with you? It's your choice, I got purple too. Let's get going like we're supposed to do. Puff, 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 this is how we do.
Look in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. It's the eye click blowing dro out the jaw, man. I'm so high in the sky, you can call me Kelly. And the weed's fire here, you can call that Nelly. I'm in the hood, boy, like Section 8. Blowing good, plus your boy push plenty of weight. This might seal my face, but I keep that green. Pants hanging real low, cause I tote that thing. Cause I'm high up on my tiptoes, man, only Lord knows. Your boy Raw Biz on the block blowing Penadro. As a matter of fact, I'm rolling up some purple. Another day for your boy, you know how I roll. Big money, big stacks, man, plenty weed. Fuck that mid-grade, no sticks, no seeds. Cause I ain't stopping till a brother lungs smoked out. I click in this bitch, boy, no doubt.
I'm smoking on that ganja green. Do you wanna get high with me? I got nothing but that high grade weed. Mad cheese and a couple OZs. Listen, ma, can I smoke with you? It's your choice, I got purple too. Let's get going like we're supposed to do. Puff, 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 this is how we do.
The type of cats keep the good smoke. What your hood for? And I'ma come through, show you what you should blow. I got that good shit, my swag so aeroponic. Wanna see me, dog, but everybody want it. Just jumped out the bag of the good smoke. Now they like, what's up, knew what it look for. I get good dro and a good kush. Smell so stink, it need a good douche. One more sack of the purple, feeling woozy. Niggas talking crazy, but these hoes trying to use me. I'm so fly, I'm so high. I done lost my keys and no lie. 10 pounds of bubble cushion, get me a new whip. I'm laid back smoking out in the spaceship. That'd be a great whip. I got a great jab. Mad at them boys, dog, cause we move a great lab.
I got lungs full of smoke, that good green dope. That kush, girl, we so fly that we float. We poop that piff, God's gift to the earth. Girl, bless yourself, catch a whiff of this burn. I know you wanna hit when the spliff get lit. Light an incense, but you can still smell that shit. Soon as you get it with, you can tell that's it. Pineapple Express, it's a movie about this. Fat newbies, we twist, blowing with the eye click. It's clear the Midwest, how you on some shot shit. With the seas way up, rolling bees up stuff. Take a slow puff, girl, this to get you fucked up. Yeah, I got that stuff, and it's stuffed in a jar. And it's guaranteed high, cause you puffin' with a star. Yeah, I'm TCO from the individuals, and I blow that dro by the truckload, Joe.
I'm smoking on that ganja green. Do you wanna get high with me? I got nothing but that high grade weed. Mad cheese and a couple OZs. Listen, ma, can I smoke with you? It's your choice, I got purple too. Let's get going like we're supposed to do. Puff, 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 this is how we do.
It is Wednesday, and on Wednesday we salute all the amazing people at leap.cc, leap.cc. I would encourage you to check out the website. Always new information there to be found, and you can also locate a speaker or 2 or 5 or 20 to bring to your neck of the woods to help educate the people in your community about the need to end prohibition. Also, I want to say thank you to KDK Distributors for being nice enough to give us a grant to keep us loud, proud, and strong, and remind you that all programming found at the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. There's over 20 hosts producing programming that is dedicated to ending prohibition. It can all be found in our archives, downloaded for free, and shared with your friends. With that said, I'm going to pass this joint chat back to my joint friends here on the Big Joint broadcast while I enjoy my joint here in the joint. Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to hit my joint.
Well, it's always good to be here from the free state of Colorado, and it does matter.
It does? And I do have one question before we move a little forward here now. I have said, Howard, that if Obama managed to get the war on drugs over with, there would be a statue of him in every city on the planet because, this horrific prohibition does affect every corner of the world. Are we going to be building statues to him, do you think?
No, because Obama has done nothing actively to help us. Nothing.
Okay. Well, thank you for
and
answering
that's why
that.
there shouldn't be any statue. He has not ended any part of the war on drugs. He is, and in fact, I've called upon him and through some people I know at the White. I know one good contact at the White House. I said, POTUS, President of the United States, needs to step forward and tell the police officers of this country the war on drugs is over. Going forward, this is going to be a medical issue. You find somebody with a little bit of pot or cocaine, you do like Portugal, put them in front of a commission to see what the problem is. Cops are not going to arrest anybody for drugs anymore. And until they do, the problem is we've seen in the last year, all these black, white, brown, everybody, young people getting shot dead, is because, unarmed, is because we still approach citizens in general as an enemy combatant. Because if you have a little green plant in the bottom of your pocket, that's against the law, and we were told we were at war. So we're still in a wartime mentality, and Obama has been negligent to tell us that the war is over.
I think most people overlook the fact that what is disguised as a war on drugs is in fact a war on our own people. It's a civil war, and our civil war killed more people than I believe all of our other war deaths in every other war combined.
That's correct.
And that's what we're doing to our own people. Let's jump back for a moment. We were talking about a bill in the House, federal bill in the House, that of the 435 congressmen lost by 12 votes. Let's just talk for a second. What was the bill? What did it attempt to do?
Basically, it was the bill from Congressman Rohrabacher, Republican of California, good guy. Actually, our champion, our hero. He was able to, through parliamentary procedures, able to put his bill, which is one sentence, like 28 words, up for a vote. It's a complicated thing. It was a writer to an amendment to a bill. And that was the vote, and that's what we came. We got 206, including 42 Republicans. Gentlemen, I said, I've been doing this for 10 years in Congress. This is huge, and that's why we're so excited to bust our butt even a little harder, jump in that pile of shit sewer more every day so we can get those 12 votes by this time next year.
And in the 28 words, what were they trying to accomplish?
Well, I'm pretty close to say, going forward, any person who is in abeyance and of any state laws regarding marijuana will not be prosecuted by any federal authorities, period. That's what it is. So if you're like Colorado has legal marijuana for all uses, and if when this bill passes, the federal government, the DEA, etc., cannot come into Colorado and arrest anybody on federal charges.
I wonder if that will ultimately be the solution to the banking problem. Personally, I think the banking problem is going to be solved fast. I think it's going to be months, not years. But we're not interviewing me; we're interviewing you. So let's if for that type of information on the banking bill and the IRS rules 280 for taking off no business expenses, Michael Correa is a former Hill staffer. He was I think 8 years on the inside of Congress, as an aide to a congressman, and now he's the chief lobbyist for the Marijuana Industrial Cannabis Association. And he is a smart guy, and he can really tell you the ins and outs. I don't deal with those other bills. I deal strictly with
the one bill to end prohibition. That's all I talk about. I never talk about hemp. I don't talk about taxes. I don't talk about banks. I only talk about prohibition, which is what LEAP is all about.
And it's also, there may be many fundamental ways to look at it, different perspectives, but I think we all know that focusing on prohibition makes an excellent starting point, excellent perspective on all of the issues. They all fall under it. So that makes complete sense to me. And from my limited exposure, even tackling one issue one way, well, of course, more than one issue, but one challenge in one way is just an overwhelming amount of work, and unbelievable, and for which we all say thank you. An unbelievable commitment and sacrifice of that much of one's life, physically, mentally, all different ways.
It's like,
yes.
Like I say, getting on my energy is just getting on the 802 about 5 miles from here, 802 train going into Washington. Once I'm on the train and committed, I'm good, I'm positive, I'm 100%. But boy, it's just getting up at 6, and then you know you're going to get home at 6, and it's going to be a long, hard day, and I'm just running out of energy at 64.
Well, I'm 64 also, and if you were saying the 802 train, like the A train or one of the subway lines, that would be one thing. But I think you mean 802 a.m.
Well, yeah, 8:02 a.m. is when the last train to Washington goes in, and that's what I'm on. And then from that moment on, I'm on. It's like because you never know on a train or when you're walking around D.C. I feel like about 7 years ago, I'm walking from the Senate building back to Union Station to go home. This guy says, "Hey, I like your buckle." I tell him about the buckle riding a horse across America. We start talking. I have no idea who this guy is, right? We talk about 5-6 minutes on the walk over, and then it turns out, I said, "May I ask, what do you do around here?" He says, "Oh, I'm a judiciary aide to Senator Biden, then Senator Biden." I'm going, oh. And in this town, you don't know who you're talking to. You've got to be on all the time. You've got to be careful all the time.
I love it. It's a target-rich environment.
Oh, it is.
And
it is. Yeah. Last week, long story short, the woman on the metro, the subway, turned to me and said, "Are you the cowboy that wants to legalize marijuana?" And I turned to her and I went, "Yes." And she went, "I saw you at the Wilson International Center. Ask a question in Spanish. Oh, by the way, my name is, we'll call her Mary. My name is Mary, and I work for the DEA and their research section." I went, "Okay." And she's doing a master's program on marijuana prohibition. I gave her my card, and she's going to contact me to get good information. So you just don't know who you're talking to.
There's a famous quotation that salespeople are taught, and it famously is in the movie Glengarry Glen Ross. ABC, always be closing.
Yeah.
You just never know who is a congressman's mother who's in town for lunch with the congressman.
The funny thing is, I got to tell you the story. So I'm at CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference, about 2 years ago.
Say again what it stood for.
Conservative Political Action Conference. 12,000 rabid, and I mean crazy rabid conservatives get together once a year for 3 days. So
thank you.
And I'm at this conference, and behind me, this guy about 6 rows back is on the phone speaking Spanish when there's a speaker up there on the podium. And so I go back to the guy and I tell him in Spanish. I said, "Sir, you're bothering everybody around you. Would you please turn off your phone?" He went, "Oh, lo siento, I'm sorry," and he put it all away. 6 hours later, I meet the gentleman at a reception. Ted Cruz's father, the guy running for president, it was his father. I told to shush. I did it respectfully, but shows and makes the point you have no bleeping clue who you're talking to.
I taught my protege. I'm a criminal defense attorney by day. I taught my protege, Tom Ward, that's THOMWARD, my new favorite person in the world. My wife comes first. He's a close second. And I explained to him that once you get out of bed in the morning, every single person you see is going to be on that jury panel when you get to court. So even driving, parking, you better be extra nice. And what I'm hearing, D.C., is that 24/7.
Absolutely. Like I say, now when I'm off, and once I get off the train, then I decompress, and now I'm not up. I'm not on my guard about who am I talking to. And once in a while, when I'm in Frederick on the weekends, I run with somebody. I wear my T-shirt, "Cops Say Legalize Pot." Ask me why. I wear that 24/7 off duty. And I run to people, and sometimes they turn out to be people from D.C., but I can't be up 24/7, 365. So I do give myself a break after 6 o'clock and also on the weekends.
Lazy guy.
Yeah. Okay.
What's this sleep crap? Nobody told you could sleep.
I know. Sorry about that. If I had gone to sleep, and that reminds me, I was on a radio show with Mark Stepnoski, former Dallas Cowboys 5-time All-Pro, as in football team.
Yeah.
And we were on a radio program, and the guy said, "Well, yeah, you were 5-time All-Pro, but if you hadn't smoked marijuana, maybe you would have been All-Pro 10 times. And we both laughed and said, "You are such an idiot, such a muffin head." People are just full of nonsense sometimes.
They are, and we are full of bills, though, sometimes here at the Big Broadcasting Network. So we got to make our budget. Unfortunately, manna does not bring dollars from the sky, so we're going to take a 1-minute break and then come back and take more Time for Hemp. You are listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. Please share us with your friends.
Serious Seeds is your source for quality cannabis and sativa seeds. Serious Seeds are the creators of legendary strains like AK-47, Bubblegum, Chronic, Cali Mist, and White Russian. The AK-47 is probably the most awarded strain on the planet. The high THC content of AK-47 makes it the perfect medical strain for patients seeking quick pain relief. Cali Mist is an almost pure sativa. Female medical cannabis patients have reported that this strain helps relieve menstrual cramps. Serious Seeds just acquired another Dutch high-quality seed bank, Magus Genetics. From now on, Serious Seeds can offer you even more award-winning strains. The fine folks at Serious Seeds strive to breed the best cannabis genetics that they can find, so patients can rely on the effectiveness of their medicine. Go to SeriousSeeds.com to grow your medicine. That site again is SeriousSeeds.com.
Grows from the earth, and I can't figure out why there's a law against it. I mean, it's rooted in the ground. It's not like it's going to follow you around and stalk you and peek in your windows, and when you're asleep, jump in and suffocate you. And It's not like it's poison, like poison ivy or poison oak. If you happen to walk into it, you get all itchy, or if you consume it, it's going to kill you. No, actually, if you consume it, it makes you healthier, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful plant that creates 50,000 different products, too. No other plant does that. So you would think the intelligent people of our community would have gone out of their way to protect this plant, not outlaw it. Well, that's my rant for the day. I will pass my little opinions off to other people at a different time and let this joint conversation move forward as it should here on the big broadcast. Your Honor?
You say the intelligent people should be out lobbying, and we are.
No, I mean the people
the
like
three of us are.
The ones that we vote into Congress. Those are supposed to be our brightest minds, our best personalities, our most caring souls that are most focused on making our country move forward. And all that.
Let me jump in here for a second, guys. Let's keep in mind, and I keep tabs on hemp through Ben Draws of Vote Hemp, and we're up to like 24 states that through the legislature have approved the growing of hemp.
That's amazing.
So we are essentially half the United States has approved the growing of hemp. So again, there's lots of cheerful news. I need you to keep bringing those emails in. And from my perspective, just say, your congressman or your senator or whatever, Bennett or Whiting, please use the 10th Amendment as the principle for marijuana. The 10th Amendment states right, sincerely, the voter. One sentence. That's all we need to apply the 10th Amendment. Gentlemen, if I had a nickel for every time I said that in Congress the last 10 years, I would be a multimillionaire. For real.
Howard, there are different ways of contacting my congressman. I can email them. I can call their office. I can do a handwritten letter. And they're prepared for all of that. What does it matter? What makes a difference? Which should I be doing? All of them?
Two things. In general, that's why I tell everybody, every 6 months, take an email, because that gets there faster and doesn't have to go through the security because of the anthrax from 10 years ago. Send an email, and then keep a copy, and every 6 months, put it on your calendar. Every 6 months, send the same thing with a new date to your congressman and senator. And then as bills come up, there's action alerts from DPA, MPP, NORML, ASA, all those great organizations. When they have an action alert, then call your congressman. And I just went into Mikulski, my senator from Maryland, and I said, my wife and I want to express our opinion on the Iran deal. And she said, so how many voters? I said 2. And she actually had a list. She had a piece of paper. Okay, that's 2, whether it's in favor or not in favor. But, she marked it down. I mean, sometimes they actually do that. And then they'll say, well, 9,000 people said yes to the Iran deal and 7,000 said no, so I'm going to vote yes. I mean, this does happen, and it has an impact.
I have been told that when they count, a phone call is worth a certain value. A handwritten letter before the anthrax was the equivalent of 100 emails, that kind of thing. Is that
correct?
That is true.
That is true. And for all the people out there who, and I get in Facebook squabbles all the time, signing a petition, save your breath, save your time. Or a form letter that you send in snail mail, or a form, email even. Personalize it, because if all of a sudden they get 50 of them, that means that's a form that somebody else has done all the work for, and so your voice is diminished when you send in the absolute form letter that the DPA or NORML or whatever sends to you to say, please, sign up and send it back in. Just personalize it.
Of those options, which would you say is, if there's an answer, the single most effective one, the way that a voter, a non-voter, can maximize their impact the phone, the letter, email, carrier pigeon, smoke signals.
Right.
Smoke signals.
In the macro, every senator and congressman has local offices in your state. Usually a senator has 4 or 5 of the major cities. Congressman has 2, 3 of the major cities in the congressional district. Everybody can go down there and do what I do. Citizen lobbyists, they'll give you 15 minutes to make your case for the issue of marijuana prohibition. And talk to the local, show the local aides, assistants, that you went to the trouble of driving from Louisville to, Denver, to talk to spend some time to tell somebody how you felt about an issue. That's the best way. It's a personal visit. And then past that, the phone call, and then past that, the email.
Well, there was also a time when, back in the day, people would put together little hemp kits to send off to Congress members and senators with, like, Jack's book and a hemp cloth and that type of thing. Is that beneficial as well?
Since 9/11, the short answer is no. Because I'm familiar with the process. When you send in a snail mail letter, it goes to a special place where they don't tear it apart, but they have to screen it to see if there's any anthrax or other deadly toxins. And if you send substances, then I don't know this, and I can check if you'd like. I would say they probably just throw them away because they can't analyze what's inside the box or inside the wrapper. And then if it's a strange substance, I mean, it's not like a Reese's cup, or a Three Musketeers bar. Right. They'll just throw it away. So they can't take a chance that you're actually passing on some type of poison.
Oh, gotcha. It is a new world. I keep forgetting. I'm from old school. Never mind. I'll just hit my joint.
Let me throw out a kind of off the wall suggestion. If somebody were to send snail mail, write the message on the outside, Pro HB 478. Whether you put a letter in it or not, they don't have to open it. They don't have to touch it. It says, all right, here's one letter pro that bill.
That's a postcard. That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you. When you go down to visit with your local state office and you're going to hopefully chat with one of the local aides, and you have 10,000 of them in D.C., I believe you said, if you're going to talk to one of the local congressional aides, is that an appointment in advance? Is that a drop-in?
No, you make an appointment. Absolutely make an appointment. Now, if you happen to be walking past the office, you can stop and say, hey, I hope your boss will vote 10th Amendment on marijuana issues. But if you want to have a conversation where you want to talk about why, in depth, you think that marijuana should be legal, regulated, and taxed, then you need to make an appointment ahead of time. That's what I do.
What I think I'm hearing big picture is the old rules. A letter is worth 500 emails. I think what I'm hearing is the old rules do not apply anymore, and the new rule generally is anything you do to be heard counts, and the only thing that is bad is to not reach out. All the other methods are fine. Just do it.
Right. And in fact, if you have access to a fax machine at your work or whatever, faxes are wonderful.
Oh, you get the benefit. Oh, a lot of benefits.
Sure. Because the staff doesn't. The staff are all millennials. These guys are all 25, 27. They grew up with. They're basically growing up with email. That's what they deal with. They find it much easier to open up an email than open up a letter. And there is some residual to that, Lenny, in terms of the value of a personally handwritten letter. When I write to the congressman, after they give me a couple minutes, I'll handwrite a letter and I hand deliver it. But of course, your listeners can't do that.
Well, so, I just being the problem solver, sorry to interrupt, that suggests another way to have your cake and eat it too. Postcards.
There we go. And postcards from the edge. We're down the last 3 minutes of the big broadcast, so that gives us time to give a shout-out to our favorite URLs. I'm thinking there might be a citizen on the broadcast that might want to give a shout-out to a URL. Right, Howard?
Yeah, it's I'm in a collaboration with Leap on this. Citizens Opposing Prohibition.org is certainly still a vibrant organization. And we are, doing what we can in conjunction with Leap to put my voice on Capitol Hill. Like Leap, and we collaborated at CPAC. We bought a booth. I paid, cops bought a booth for Leap to show at, along with the RAMP, Republicans Against Marijuana Prohibition. So that's one thing. And of course, we all love Leap, LEAP.DC, Charlie. Urge you to go there, learn more, donate, and help put more voices in front of radio and Rotary, and rodeos too maybe, because that's what it takes. It's person-to-person contact. They see your sincerity, they see the integrity, and that's the way change minds.
And Howard, it always rocks having you on the big broadcast. You are a member of our family. I fell in love with your knowledge and your presentation the first time we had you as a guest, and it was the last time you were a guest. That's when you became a family member, and we certainly enjoy all the updates that we get from Washington, D.C., from the marijuana lobbyists that you are so diligently succeeding at being. Your Honor, give us a shout-out.
Howard, it's really an honor and a treat. Thank you. Quick note. When we send the cards, when we send the letters, I believe that if the top line in large print says Pro, HB 438, they don't need to read the letter. It's one letter Pro. That's really what they want to know in the letter, I think. Shout out, My Canary. We've developed an iTunes, iPhone, iPad app where you can get some input on your actual performance, not bullshit chemistry. So, and Leap.
Short answer is you're correct. Just put Pro, HR 1940 in this case. That's the Rohrabacher bill. Just say just Pro HR 1940, and then that's all you really need. And for goodness sakes, don't write 3 pages. Don't send 2 pages. Everything must be one sheet of paper, one fax. If you go to 2, they'll throw them away. They'll recycle them. But so just everything to Congress is one sheet. I never pass out 2 sheets.
You mentioned, and I'm going to use my shout-out time to throw it back to Howard. You mentioned Rory Bacher. Spell his last name for us, please. We need to know who we're supporting.
Yeah, Rohrabacher is ROHRA. B like boy, A, C like Charlie, H Henry, E Edward, R Robert. Bacher, B-A-C-H-E-R. Rohrabacher, wonderful gentleman. He's the hour age, and he's been out there pushing for marijuana reform for like 15, 20 years. He is our champion in the House.
Well, I'm going to give a shout-out to our Representative Rohrabacher, R-O-H, R-A Bacher. That matters. That matters.
It does.
Thanks, Howard.
And your local congressman is wonderful also.
Absolutely.
His name is just ran out of my brain, but he is wonderful on this issue.
Jared Polis. And
Jared Polis is also a leader on this issue. He's bringing votes in for us on a regular basis. Big shout out to Jared Polis. He really makes my job easier.
All right. And remember, we are a 24-hour day, 7-day a week, all cannabis, all the time broadcasting network, the only one in iHeartRadio. Like a good friend and a good joint, both are best when shared at 420 every day, and it's always 420 when you hear Time for Hemp.
Education and information. See what all the buzz is all about. It's time for hemp. It's time for hemp.